Hebrews 11:35. Verse 35 says, women received their dead raised to life again. Women received their dead raised to life again. So that's a miracle, right? But you keep on reading. Others were tortured, so they didn't experience the miracle. Some experienced the miracle of getting their dead raised back to life again. But on the other hand, in the same verse, you see some other people who were tortured and tortured to death. So they were not saved from torture. And then not accepting deliverance. They did not accept deliverance. They were not delivered, that they might obtain a better resurrection. They saw something better than anything they could get in this life. So, you know, sometimes we think that the greatest thing that could happen is a miracle. Sometimes we think that if God could just raise somebody from the dead, that would be a wow miracle. Wow, everything would just be great. I mean, there's nothing that could be better than that. But these people walked with God so much, and they walked with God so closely that they knew that there was something much better than to be resurrected from the dead, or to be healed, or to be delivered. So sometimes we celebrate deliverance, and we celebrate miracles to the extent that we become blind to some things that are better. You know, the good is always the enemy of the better, right? So and that's what happens sometimes to us Christians. We Christians, sometimes we think that, oh, the only thing we are looking for is that God is a miracle working God, and then when God doesn't come up, when God does not do the miracle, we become discouraged. We get disillusioned, and some people complained, and some people even stopped going to church just because they think that the best thing that could happen to them is a miracle. But there were some people who were men of faith, men and women of faith, people who really knew God, and people who really walked with God. They looked at these things totally differently. And how did they look at it? Some of them actually, they opted not to be delivered. It says others were tortured, not accepting deliverance. So they opted out of deliverance. They opted not to be delivered. They actually chose to rather die than to be delivered. Can you imagine how much dedication these people have? Can you imagine how great their faith was in God? Okay, they opted out of deliverance, so they were not delivered, that they may obtain a better resurrection. Still, others had trial of mockings, people were mocked, of scourgings, yes, and of chains and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawed, like saw, they were sawn in two. They were tempted, they were slain with the sword, they wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins. Being destitute, they were afflicted, they were tormented, and because of this, it was said of them that these were the people of whom the whole world was not worthy, because they chose rather to go through trials and to go through temptations and torture, so that they will see something more important and more glorious than a miracle and even a wonderful deliverance.